Okay, well, I thought we would just start with everyone introducing ourselves. Oh, I forgot the. Did everybody put your intention down? Um,
It was only an edit view only document.
I see you put it in there. Or no, no, that was Mercedes did. So
I sent you a
maybe
request for edit access.
that was. Here's the document. I'm putting it in the chat window, and if you could see if that works for you, because that I think the one that you were trying to edit is the original. That was the template. This is the working copy here. If you could,
Okay.
yeah,
Open
I
that
see
here.
it just popped in there.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. I see. It looks like you're,
I'm here.
yeah.
Bold too. Let me not bold myself. It makes me seem like I want to run the show.
Yell it. Say it out loud.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oops.
Mercedes.
Hello, can you
Hi.
hear me? Okay,
Yes.
wait.
Do you have video, or are you kind of in a low bandwidth
Boy, I was
situation?
coming. Let's see.
Oh, there you are. Hey.
Yeah, I was having problems setting it up.
Yeah, you can always set the bandwidth down. There's up above. There's a microphone where you can mute. So I think
Uh-huh.
everybody knows. So if you're not speaking, and if there's a lot of background noise, it's good to mute. Then there's also a little bit over an adjust bandwidth. So if you have trouble with bandwidth, you can always step it down a little bit. And um,
Okay.
so okay, well we could get started then with introductions. So I'm Edwin Rutch, Director of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy, and for about the last 8 years I've been working on the theme of empathy. Was inspired partially by Barack Obama, who said we had an empathy deficit in the country, and thought, okay, let's try to do something about that. And I've been setting up the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy, and those are all empathy books back there, that whole shelf. And I've interviewed most of the authors, so I've done well over 300 interviews, which are on the website. So I'm really looking at how to foster more empathy in the world, and this group here is part of that effort. So you just feel free, jump in, whoever wants to.
Okay, I'll take it.
All right.
Go ahead, Xuan.
Okay, I'll go. My name is Xuan. I study social psychology at Brown University. I'm probably entering my last year of my PhD program, not so sure right now. I study perspective taking and empathy. So basically, when do people take other people's perspective and how to make people more likely to take other people's perspective. And sometimes I also include robots in my study of taking robots' perspective, or the other way, like robots take people's perspective. So I have a ton of research projects related to robot-human interaction with human-human interaction with the younger children, like 4 or 5 years old. So basically, I do research. But I also taught empathy and leadership class this summer at Brown Leadership Institute, and it was about how to it was the audience were high school students, and I taught how to be more empathetic. And at the end, students designed their action plans and took the action plans back to their community to cultivate more empathy. So I do research and I teach. That's what I do. And by the way, I want to comment that I definitely recognize quite a few books on Edwin's bookshelf, and I'm very excited to see. Melissa, your microphone is not turned on, I think.
I said I'm sure you've had to read many of them and the articles behind them in the last few years. Well, I guess I'll jump in. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Well, my name is Melissa Oudshorn Fuller. I have a funny Dutch name because I'm married to a Dutch man, but I'm American. I'm from Idaho originally, and I live in the Netherlands now. I'm the director of the Honors Institute for the School of Communication and Media at an applied science university here in the Netherlands, and have just recently started my PhD on empathy skills development focused in a professional context. I did some research about what is excellence in the context of being a communications professional, and of the 5 skills, the 5 domains of attributes that came out, only one we pay 0 attention to in any of our teaching, and that's empathy. So I thought it was time to try and figure out what we could do to be effective in that area. That's me in a nutshell.
Shall I go next?
Good, yeah. Just keep whatever else.
Hi everybody. My name is Tim Harrison. I'm born and London trained in graphic design, but I've had kind of a long and varied career in different things so far. I worked in the music industry, lived in Australia for 10 years, and then I came over to California, where I am now. Worked with Apple for 5 years as a creative director, and work on mostly with Silicon Valley startup stuff at the moment. And I'm particularly kind of interested in how technology is kind of helping us do stuff like this, but also the issues around how we make technology more kind of personable, help people to connect without the disconnection. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Hi, well, my name is Mercedes Calcaño. I am a musician, a classical pianist, and a visual artist. I've been working on the subject of what it's to be human for more than 25 years as a researcher. And I've been developing a program called Teaching for Greatness, which has to do with what makes an individual be great. Coming from a place where we all can be great. So my study basically moves around the humanities and the arts, how the humanities, the performing arts and arts in general, establish some kind of connections within us and with our environment, and what qualities, like the 21st century qualities, we develop through studying what means to have a soul, what means to educate the soul. I come from a place where I think that to create empathy in the world and peace, we need to start thinking about who we are, not in terms of what we do or our mind, but what is unlimited in us. And for me, that's the soul. It's a secular study of what means to have a soul. And I'm developing programs to teach kids empathy, value, leadership, character, through how artists develop those qualities while working.
Okay, thank you. So I wanted to give a quick overview of what we're going to be doing today. So the first part, we're going to be testing and prototyping the empathy circle process. We're going to do that for until the top of the hour. And then we're going to be doing 2 hours of the mini design process to redesign the experience that we had to make it more empathic. So with that, we can start the empathy circle. We're officially starting the empathy circle now, and with the empathy circle, we start by setting our intention. And so the intention for this empathy circle that we're about to do is to create an empathic way of being. And that's an empathic way of being of self-connection with ourselves, connection with each other, and with the larger world and society. And so we want to also hear everyone's personal intention for taking part, and you've written that down. I'll begin. So my intention was to create tools to foster empathy, and as well as to network with people. So really to network with you all who are empathy enthusiasts. And so those are the two main intentions right now. So perhaps we just go down the list. Tim, if you'd like to just quickly share your intention, and we'll just go down the list there.
Yeah, sorry, I was unmuting my microphone. Yeah, my interest is definitely in looking at how these types of processes can work, and also how the design process itself can bring ideas to bear. It's an interesting thing for me because I'm a designer anyway. So as I've said to Edwin before, it's interesting seeing design as a process being taken up by non-designers and the mainstream, and looking at it as a process, particularly with the empathy part of it, where design is really about putting yourself in the shoes of somebody else, which is really about empathizing. So it's an interesting thing for me, but I'm also personally interested in the how that relates with the technology side of things. So how we can develop new ways of connecting with each other and doing stuff. So yeah, that's my...
Okay, so I'll just reflect back. We're going to be doing empathic listening, so I'm also going to model it by reflecting back what I'm hearing. So what I'm hearing, Tim, is that you're a designer, and that you're taken with how these design processes are being taught, and that you're interested in how the design process can be used to foster empathy itself. I don't know if I got that right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mercedes, you're next there, and you're muted.
I'm sorry. Well, my intention is I want to develop a model of education that focuses on becoming, what it's to become as a human being. And I have seen as an artist and that many of the elements and the principles of design, of music, mirror processes in life and processes in how we evolve, think, feel, and connect with others. So my idea is try to find ways to make visible the invisible. How to make visible how the soul, how our mind works, but integrated. And of course, empathy has to do a lot of it because it's about understanding how we build intentions, connections, emotions, and how that reflects in the other and in the world around us.
Okay, so what I'm hearing there is that you're wanting to see how you can take the soul and make the soul visible, and that empathy is part of that?
Yes, how if you understand your soul, it's easier to understand the others.
Okay, so if you can understand your own soul, then you can understand other people's souls.
Yes, and find how we come together. The idea is that for me, it's where are we, what is common humanity, what do we share?
Okay, so what I'm hearing is it's about our common humanity and what we share and how we can come together, then, is what you're interested in. Your intention is finding it that way.
Yes, and because I am an artist and I share some of team ideas, an artist needs to do that in a way that is purposeful, meaningful, and beautiful. So I want to integrate what is beauty, poetry, you know, that aesthetic part of the art that for me it's food for the soul.
So it's like using the arts to do that expression of the soul, and it's also food. It also nurtures the soul too.
Yes, because I feel that although technology has bring us closer in a way, this measurable, technical, scientific world has ripped out the magic of being human, the things that you cannot count, that you cannot see, that are not measurable. So I want to work with that in a way that they become ours again.
Okay. Great. The next person then, is that? You're muted.
Yeah, here we go. Well, I have the unfortunate nature of being incredibly curious, and when I talk to people or are listening to people, I get so wrapped up in where my own mind is going that it's very difficult for me to concentrate on what people are saying to me, because I'm in 1,000 extra places and have so many more questions that I don't really listen to what they're saying. So as somebody who's trying to also build education or help understand how we can build education to help other people be more empathic, I find maybe I need to put myself in more of an immersion program through the process to work on my own skills to see what works with me. Not that that's a good way to be a researcher, that's not what I mean, but I guess this is more of a personal experience for me to see how I develop and change through this process.
Okay, so I'm hearing that that your mind, when you're listening to other people, your mind, a lot of things start going on, and you're looking at how you would like to see how you can develop yourself to maybe listen better or empathize better, as kind of from a personal point of view.
Right, because I become so distracted by helping somebody else or getting through my thoughts to find a way to fix something or add to it or help them connect with somebody or network with somebody because of that, I often miss the deepness of what they're saying and don't question well. So I'd like to see how this process works.
Okay, so you'd like to see, what I'm hearing there is like you like to see how this process works to foster deeper connection, because when you talk to people, you're already thinking how you can network, how you can fix what their problem is, and you like to really see how this process could be used to listen and connect more deeply to people.
Right, and then is any of this transferable? Can I transfer that knowledge to others?
Okay, so and then also be able to teach it or transfer it to others too. Okay.
Right.
And thanks, Sean. You're muted. Still muted. There you go.
I got it. All right. So one thing, I guess 3 points. One is to get to know all kinds of practice out there about empathy and cultivating empathy in individuals and in the society. I just want to know what are people doing, and I'm glad to see that we have people from all different occupations, different jobs, and caring about the same thing. So that's what I want to know. Like where are people from, and what do people do regarding to empathy? That's one thing. Another one is to find a researcher. I'm always looking for the next project. So I want to find interesting research projects, and they could be about validating the effectiveness of empathy intervention, or it could be something more about describing how people do their cognitive processes, the mechanisms of empathy. Could be either, but that's what I'm always looking for. And the last point is just to accumulate more stimulating materials in the preparation for my future empathy and leadership class. So that's basically, and workshops. Sometimes I lead small workshops. So that's what I want to get.
Okay, so what I was hearing now, there's three parts of your intention. The first part of the intention is to see what other methods are out there, tools are out there, what are people doing around empathy. The second part I'm hearing is about looking for research projects, and the third part was
Teaching.
tools that you could use to teach for your leadership class.
To teach other people,
How to teach other people, so,
Exactly.
yeah. Do you feel heard around that? Did you feel like I got it?
Totally, perfect.
Okay, great. So that was just a little bit of modeling of empathic listening, because we're going to be doing some of that later. I thought, well, I'll try to bring that in and start modeling it already. So what we want to do is see, do those intentions work for everybody? Can we get a thumbs up if these intentions, kind of an agreement that the intentions work? And what I'd like to do is, as part of the circle, we light our candle just to symbolize the intention to foster empathic way of being. So I'm just going to light this and hold that here, just to kind of remind us. And next we want to go into just, it takes a little time to get here and get a little frazzled with all the things, the chores we had to do. So I want to just take 2 minutes to self-connect, close our eyes. We're just going to, take some deep breaths and just self-connect, breathing deeply, noticing the breath coming in and out, tuning into the bodily sensations. Like, just feel into the bodily sensations, and we'll just have a little bit of self-connection for 2 minutes. So let's take a long, deep breath, let that out, and come back to the circle. Yeah, I like that stretching. That looks good, Melissa. So what we want to do now is, for the rest of the hour, is we want to do empathic listening. And if you saw the instructions, I know some of you have already done it in some groups together. And we're going to do what we call the empathic listening or shared empathy empathic listening process, circle process. And that is one person in the group can speak, and they can select who they would like to speak to. And that person will reflect back what they're hearing the speaker say, until the speaker feels heard. And I modeled that at the beginning of the group, reflecting all of your intentions. And so as the speaker, you want to give space and pause for the listener to be able to reflect back, because if you say a lot, it's hard for them to speak, to get it all back. And as the listener, you're just wanting to reflect. You're not wanting to ask questions. You're not wanting to, give advice. It's just purely to reflect what it is that you're hearing. And then we'll go for up to 5 minutes for the speaker, and I'll keep time here. And then it'll be the listener's turn to speak. and then they can select who they would like to. It'd be good to select someone who hasn't listened or spoken, and we'll just keep going around like that. Hopefully you saw the instructions, which were a little bit more in-depth, and so we're pretty much can just begin. If somebody maybe would like to start with me, and I can model it, and so we have our circle question, which is you can talk about your intention, more about your intention, or you can talk about whatever is alive in you in the moment, in the sense of, what are you feeling at the moment? What is like really, what do you have energy around? Are there questions about the course or anything like that? So it's intentions or just anything that's alive for you in the moment. So anybody can jump in. If you'd like to just start, then I'll model it.
I'll go first.
Okay, great.
I thought I would just steam in and go first because I was suddenly feeling really anxious, and I thought maybe the best thing to do around my anxiety is just to say, I'll just go now.
Okay, so what I'm hearing there is you're noticing you're starting to feel anxious, and you're thinking the best way to deal with that was just to go right away.
Yeah, I think what was interesting was there was so much stuff kind of going around in my head about where we were going to start with this, and some, I guess, sort of apprehension about the whole idea of design as a process, because it, as I've spoken to you, Edwin, before, it's not a normal kind of way of doing things for me as a designer.
So you're feeling some anxiety about the design process because it's not, I guess, this systematic approach is not how you usually do it as a designer.
Yeah, I think it's just the not being familiar with stuff being kind of structured like that, and also definitely the how kind of strange it is to be with people that I've not met before, but not actually be physically present with you guys.
Okay, so it sounds like there's two parts to the anxieties. One is this structured approach, which you usually don't use, and the other is being with a group who you don't know, as well as you're not in physical connection. It's you're in kind of virtually together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those are actually, now I'm kind of thinking about it, these are all things that actually I found interesting about joining, taking part in the group. Anyway, these are kind of specific, I think, kind of big hot topics for me, just in terms of the comfort that we have doing stuff where we're actually separated by technology, as opposed to being together in person and sensing each other's kind of presence and all of the other stuff that goes on where you can't see what's going on off camera.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So this is like even a question you've had about technology in general, about being in presence or being on camera, where there could what's happening right around off camera then. Mm-hmm. So it's like something you've been even thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really, what's really interesting to me is whether the technology can like get over the sort of lack of spontaneity that happens when you're actually in a room with people, as opposed to, you know, seeing little postage stamp sized pics of virtual people. So I don't know. It's a fascinating thing a challenge, I think, and I'm interested in how it brings up this sort of anxiety in me.
So you're interested in like how this technology is bringing up anxiety in you.
I am particularly in as compared to just being in a room with you. So I don't know. I found it. It's just an interesting time that we're able to do this type of thing and connect with each other. And I find the same thing with having Skype calls with friends and people overseas. But there's something there's something kind of missing that the technology removes, that I've yet to sort of really feel like I can put my finger on. So it's something that's, I think, is a really kind of interesting challenge.
So you're noticing even when you do like Skype calls that there's something missing within the technology, and you haven't been able to really put your finger on what that is that's missing.
Yeah, I mean there's all kinds of things going on that I'm suddenly kind of aware that I don't have to think about when I'm in a room with other people. Like, I'm conscious of, am I turning the microphone on and off, or am I positioning myself right in terms of where the camera is, and what's behind you guys, and what can you see and what you can't see. There are all kinds of interesting things that come into play that suddenly they're almost interfering with the conversation that we're having, because I'm thinking, can you hear me okay? Is my chair squeaking too much and stopping you from hearing me? Yeah.
So we have 30 seconds, but what I'm hearing there is that you're thinking, your mind is kind of distracted by the technology, about is the audio working, is all the different technological things that you have to deal with are kind of distracting from maybe from the connection.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You're hearing me. It's that for me that it's amazing how the technology gets in the way of just being spontaneous and just having that human connection.
Okay, so you're just seeing how the technology gets in the way of human connection.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the time. So do you feel heard on that? So,
I do. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. So I'll speak to Xuan.
Yes. Okay, great.
Oh, great. So yeah, this whole issue of anxiety of people coming together, I mean, it came up in one of the other groups that there's a little, I feel a little anxiety. I'm sure other people feel anxiety, kind of getting started. So that was one of the kind of the issues that has come up before.
So you're saying that not only you feel anxiety, but you also sense that other people feel anxiety too, and in this group and other previous groups.
And one of the ways I'd heard about maybe addressing the anxiety is saying we will likely feel anxious when we first get together. So kind of make a statement about that, to kind of name it, that we will probably feel, even have it written out, or something where we actually state and air the anxiety.
Mm-hmm. So one way to overcome that anxiety is to sounds like to normalize it, to make an open statement that people will all feel anxious, so it's normal.
And I find the strategy that Tim was using to kind of share the anxiety and say, hey, I feel anxious, actually helps me in becoming less anxious as well.
Mm-hmm. So you think hearing other people, Tim's anxiety, also makes you feel less anxious?
And it could even be a opening question: is what are any anxieties or fears we are feeling in the moment? As an opening question for the circle. We've done that before too.
So I'm not sure I got this quite well, so you are saying that it will be an open question. What do people, what kind of anxiety are people feeling right now?
Yeah, that we could even open the circle with that question. Like, is anybody feeling any anxiety or now or at any, is there an anxiety or fear that you're dealing with in life in general? You know, so it can be a more deep, you know, so that might kind of help too. So I guess I'm kind of strategizing here for how do we address any anxieties.
Mm-hmm. So one strategy you think is to ask people at the beginning of the workshop or the discussion how what are people feeling anxious about.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel heard. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm gonna pick Melissa.
Thank you. I'm listening the best I can.
Thank you. I don't know what I'm gonna say. Let me just try to I don't know, just talk something that's actively on my mind right now. So since we have been talking about anxiety, it's surprising that I don't feel very anxious this time compared to last time.
So you're saying that although other people are saying things about anxiety, you don't really share those feelings at the moment and are not feeling anxious during this session.
Mm-hmm. And I think one reason is because I'm doing this for the second time with Edwin. And that could be one of the main reasons.
Okay, on the aside, I could say, you know, she's just going for an A, but yeah. So, but because you've done this for the second time, yeah, you feel less anxious about the process.
Mm-hmm. And I think another reason is because I've been Skyping a lot with different researchers recently, which is a brand new experience as a last year PhD student. So I have to talk with different people on Skype about very intellectual topics. So I guess that makes me feel better.
So you're saying that the experience that you're having now, because you have to speak to so many people as a fifth-year researcher, you have to speak to so many different people online in this type of format, yeah, it seems pretty natural to you at this point.
Yeah, but it's also very true that I used to hate this totally. Even before this year, before I started this heavy Skype using, I never Skyped with my parents or with my previous good friends, and I just hate the idea of seeing myself on Skype. So I think it can be changed and anxiety can be reduced when we get familiar with this, the technology, and also get is forced to use it more.
So although, you know, in the past you haven't really used this medium to communicate with people, your parents or your friends before, yeah, now that you're having some experience with it, it seems much easier, but at the beginning you were definitely faking it till you made it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you were hiding the anxiety, but now it's just become second nature.
Yes, yes. So, but with that said, I'm still not sure if I can use Skype with parents and close others because I've been using it for professional contacts. So maybe it's not transferable to that situation. I mean, I don't know yet, and I don't intend to find that out, but I just have a question mark here about technology use.
Okay, so you're using this in your professional situation, which now seems quite natural, but whether you can apply that to your personal situation, yeah, it might not seem as natural, or might seem a bit different, and you're not really ready to make that step yet.
Yes. Yeah, I feel heard. Thank you.
Thank you. It's terrible because during that whole thing, I wanted to ask you so many questions. But why didn't you talk to your parents on Skype? Are they so far away? What's going on? Sorry.
Melissa, now select someone and you can tell them all that you just said. Maybe you could tell that to Mercedes. Tell her all those things that you just said.
Okay.
Mercedes. Thank you
Hello,
for this.
Melissa.
Hello. Thank you for listening to me, or being about to listen to me. I just, it's torture, because I really, again, have so many questions about who is Xuan? Why is she a Brown? Why isn't she talking to her parents? What is going on? I would go crazy if I couldn't talk to my family on Skype, and I live far away too. So, my anxiety is for not being able to interact more.
So what I'm hearing is that when you listen to Xuan, you have so many questions trying to pop through your head, and you get distracted because it's full of energy, it's full of emotion, and you can really not vent it.
That's right. It's so funny because it's the thing I want to help my students so much not do when they are working on projects with external clients and they need to do intake meetings, and I see them doing what I'm doing too, not getting what they're saying or not picking up on what people are saying, and then it just gets glossed over and they never really understand the problem.
Okay, so what I'm listening is that you somehow are the teacher in you, it's observing and feeling the same process you see in your students and recognizing that you go through the same process, and the anxiety probably you feel is because you want to stop them something that you cannot stop in you.
Mm. Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, somewhat. I observe them facing the same curiosity maybe that I do, but I think more, maybe it's more, I recognize people being misunderstood. I recognize clients feeling misunderstood, and I can see that my students don't pick up on the signals that something's going awry, and they just steamroll over into the question list. And I find myself kind of almost doing the same thing, and it's really frustrating and maybe human. I don't.
so what I hear is that it's frustrating to see how a process that is so natural in you is so hard to control. And I am hearing that it worries you how to put the line between what is curiosity and what is just being misunderstood or not being able to understand the other. I am listening to you correctly?
Or that I, as an outside observer, see misunderstandings happening so much.
Okay.
And I want so much to help people understand each other better, or understand their needs better, or the processes better. And I want to teach my students to listen better, to understand better, but I am not able to do that very well myself. So, as I recognize from my conversation with Xuan, again.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you can see really well how the process develops, and you want that process, you want not just to be able to see it, but to know how to use it in ways that it benefits your students and yourself, because you recognize that part of that process happens in you too. So you're trying to find how to make it work, how that knowledge that you can see outside can become a tool to use, to be used by you and your students.
Right, how focusing on this really conscious empathic listening can be, it can help people misunderstand less.
Okay. So what I listen is that this empathy tool and this way of diving into empathy can help you, yourself, and your students how to connect in ways that we can listen each other better without misunderstandings.
That's pretty much encapsulates it. Thank you, Mercedes.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So now you can select, I think everybody is spoken, so you can select whoever you, yeah, you can select whoever you wish. I think Xuan
Everybody.
hasn't reflected yet. So
Okay, Xuan.
Yeah.
Hi, Xuan.
Sorry, just to chime in. I think I did.
oh, it was Tim. It was Tim.
Tim
Sorry.
did it.
Okay, Tim. Good. Well, while I was listening to everybody of the group talking about the things happening in their heads, I myself was I feel a little bit like Melissa was describing. I could see all this, you know, like all the landscapes, each personal landscapes, and at the same time, I was trying to see, okay, how does all this fits in the circle? How can these different landscapes come together in a circle of empathy?
So I heard you say that you were. I'm not entirely sure that I understood that, but I think you were saying that you agreed with some of the stuff that was said before in trying to get things to understand how to bring it together as a landscape.
That each of us come from a different place, and yes, it's like each of the persons I was listening in the group are different canvases, different works of art. And as I listened to them, I had a bunch of ideas coming, and I was thinking, okay, how do I keep listening very deeply what they are saying and stop the ideas, or should I just let them go around in my head and try to filter them once we all finished?
Right. So I heard you say that you were hearing lots of different ideas and points of view going on, and you were trying to figure out whether to process them like there and then, or whether you should wait until afterwards to get your head around what was being said.
Yes, yes. And I thought a tendency in me that because I want to keep focusing on what people were saying, I just, with my hand, was writing words in a list, putting words in a list, because I know that those words will trigger the same ideas that came around in my head. So it was a creative process, and that made me think, oh, how can this kind of process help others to be empathic? And when I am in a creative state, it's like there are too many doors open, and I need a time to process them. And I was thinking, how do you do that with other individuals in a circle?
Yeah,
because it's not only what they are saying, it's what's happening with them in those moments where between words.
Yeah, so I think I heard you saying that you were thinking about taking notes and writing down ideas and points of view as they came up, because you were looking to try to get an understanding of how of not only what was going on and being said in the moment, but you're also trying to understand what's going on in between the spoken stuff. What are people thinking?
Yes, I feel heard in this. It's that idea that when I work, when I teach, when I work, or when I create, there are kind of two levels of things going on. The visible level, what I see happening, and all what I can intuitively or energetically, I don't know how to describe it, perceive, you know? And for me, it's very important. I'm trying to find a way to tap into that under level. Not only the one that it's visible, but the one that it's not visible, but I feel very strongly.
Right. So you're saying that you're seeing this on two, almost like two levels. There's a level that's very kind of visible and easily maybe easily understood, but also there's something else kind of going on underneath that you're feeling is really important to look at as well.
Yes, yes, I feel heard.
Mm.
When I was listening particularly to you, Tim, talking about what technology does, I felt like I was in the other edge of your statement, and that was very, very funny and interesting for me, because I was thinking, okay, in this world of technology, I want to come back to the face-to-face. Sometimes it's not possible. How can we recreate the face-to-face when it's not possible to be together?
Mm. Yeah, so I heard you say that you felt that you understood or agreed with me on some of my frustrations with technologies, and that you're also really interested in that face-to-face element of communication, and the other missing stuff that gets put by the wayside with technology.
So we have
Yes.
30 seconds.
Okay. The last thing I would like to, which worries me about the group, the process, is how not to make it mechanic. How in repeating the same way of communicating for empathy, this process doesn't become mechanic.
Right. Yeah. So you're looking to you're hoping that it doesn't. Or it sounds like you're hoping that it doesn't become a mechanical process where the technology does get in the way of it.
The way we communicate as circle.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Thank you, Tim, for listening to me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for speaking.
Okay, so that's the time allotted for our empathic listening process. We'll have a little bit more time, I think, at the next meeting for this, since we won't have to do as much with the introductions and so forth. So the next thing is to transition. We're going to do a felt sense mirroring exercise. So the idea with empathy is that when we synchronize with each other, that synchronization releases oxytocin, and it's kind of an empathy building quality. The oxytocin creates some relaxation, and that creates better empathy, as well as the synchronization is a kind of an empathic quality in itself. So what we want to do is look into yourself, like feel into yourself after having done this, and what is a felt sense, like translate like the emotion, the emotion into a physical manifestation. So and then what we'll do is each person can do the motion, and then the others will mirror it until you feel that everyone's got it. So the one I've got is like this. So if everybody just mirrors it until I feel like I've really been seen. It's like really slow. Yeah, it's kind of like letting it grow a little bit. And with a big stretch. Oh, yeah, I feel seen. Okay, somebody else wants to give it a try?
Can I ask a clarification?
Oh, sure.
Are we saying what that process made us feel like, or where we feel right now?
How you feel right now, just
Okay.
some felt experience. So,
okay.
Seeing Tim, it can also be a sound if you feel like you got a sound. Okay, we got it. You're muted, so we didn't hear what you're saying. Oh, we got Schwan.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. All right.
You got it?
Okay.
Okay.
So we got it?
Got it.
Okay. Alrighty, so that was the felt sense and mirroring exercise. And to close the circle, we had set our intention. Our intention was to develop an empathic way of being. So to close the circle, we had lit our candle to begin with, and we want to take that intention and blow it out into the world. And so if we take a deep breath, and everyone, let's blow our intention to create empathy out into the world. There we go. Thank you. Great. So that was the empathy circle. We had the beginning, setting the intention, doing some, talking about our intention, lighting the candle, doing our mindfulness, doing the empathic listening, doing the mirrored exercise, and sending our intention out. So that was the prototype. And so what we want to go into next is to redesign that to, oh, Joan says I speak too loud. So I'm going to try to speak softer. Somehow it's kind of like the technology. I guess I feel like I have to shout louder to be heard around the world. So we want to move to our document, where we wrote our intention. So let's bring that up, and we can. This would be a good time to take a break if anyone needs to use the restroom, or does anybody need a break, or can we move ahead? Everybody's good.
No, I'm just going to turn on some lights.
Okay.
2-minute break. I get some water.
Okay, now I'll use the restroom, so we'll take a couple-minute break.
Whoops. So it's just you and me, Tim. Hi, how you doing?
All right, yeah, that was good. That mouth covering one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm that makes me so tired. I feel so. That listening, it just makes me so. It's hard.
It's amazing, isn't it?
You see Edwin doing it. You're like, oh, he's just repeating what I'm saying. You know.
Yeah.
He just wrote.
I find it amazing how much kind of concentration it takes.
Yeah,
it's like I was just thinking about what you were saying about the mind racing stuff. You know, when people are speaking, and just totally amazed at how difficult that was just now.
Yeah, really. Sorry, we were talking between takes there, Edwin.
It's all recorded, so I can go back and hear it. So
Nothing bad. We were just saying how easy you make it look and how hard it is when you try it yourself.
yeah,
So.
we're just kind of beginning with the empathic listening. It's when you really get, it takes time to get you know, kind of like comfortable with it, and then start sinking in deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And a real circle would go for about 2 hours. I think we need about 2 hours to get into it, where you really start getting comfortable and start creating more of a shared field. You know, so we're just kind of getting a little taste of it here.
Right. Well, I mean, I can imagine that for some, you know, just the trust building. I mean, we're five strangers, and you know, we jump into a place where we're listening so intensively with each other, but we don't really even know each other or our own contexts, and you really have to concentrate so hard. It's tiring, but you make it look so easy.
I've done like, yeah, hundreds. So I'm hearing you're saying that I make it look easy, but I've done hundreds of these and circles. So kind of
There
like
you
practice.
go again.
Yeah,
you see, just making it look easy again. So, too funny. Anyway, sometimes the outtakes are important too.
Yeah, that's we've got them recorded. So, so we're moving to page 2 of that document. Does everybody have that? The it's
Don't
introduction.
see the document anymore.
Yeah, you need to open it. There's the link. The one where you wrote your intention.
Sorry, it must have just fallen away, but I see it now. Thank you.
So we're moving to page 2, which is Introduction to Empathic Design. So I know that Schwan we already did this with her, so we start. So this is this workbook is from the design school, the D School at Stanford, and it's a modification. It's also in class 1 of the IDEO of this course. There's a mini design, so this is kind of like a redesign of that, and this we're going to go through within 2 hours the full design process from the beginning to end, and the process begins with empathy, which is we're going to learn about each other's experience with the empathy circle. We're going to do interviews of each other. We're going to then define a problem that we find, and then we're going to ideate, which is brainstorm solutions. And then we're going to do prototyping. We're going to create a prototype, and then we would test. I don't think we're going to get to the testing, but that's the process for the design. If we move to page 3, there's a couple other models there of the process. So the one with it shows that empathy is a divergent process. So it's an opening. You empathize. We got all this information. Then we go into define, which is like convergent, focusing down on a problem. And then the ideate is like this opening, kind of brainstorming is kind of open-ended. And then prototyping, we're honing in again on a specific area to test, prototype, and test. And the design is iterative, so we go through the full process once, and we go through it again and again and again. And within IDEO, they talk about, you know, iterate, iterate, iterate. So that's really what we're doing. We're just iterating, iterating, iterating on these. We're going to do 3 iterations of this process to, you know, go over it and over and over again. And each time we get a little bit better and learn a little bit more. So then we move to page 4, which is step 1. Which is our challenge, which we have, is to redesign the empathy circle to make it even more empathic. and to make it more, address our needs more. And we're going to go around and interview each other, and we'll have 6 minutes to interview each other. Before, we're going to want to each person, if you see there's some sample questions, got a helicopter going over. There's some sample questions like, what was your experience of the empathy circle? You know, what worked well and why? So if everybody writes one question that you, from, what would you want to ask someone about their experience of the empathy circle?
Edwin, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you just quickly say that again, just really quickly?
Just write one question that you would ask in an interview. It's like, it's on page, the step 1, your challenge.
Yeah.
Everyone write one question that you would ask, like in an interview. What is one question you would ask?
Sorry, I just love the anonymous iguanas and anonymous llamas. That's so cute. Was that your idea, Edwin, or is that something?
That's Google. That's
Google funniness, Google humor. Okay.
Hmm. Okay, so I'll just go through and read them. So the questions we have is, do you feel that the empathy, that the circle you achieved what you set out to achieve? The next one is, what are some advantages and disadvantages of using technology as the media of empathy circle? What would you keep the process, how would you keep the process assertive and effective without making it stuck, frozen, and repetitive pattern? Repetitive, perhaps? And a repetitive pattern to keep it from being repetitive. How can we incorporate people's different channels of expressions and approaching? And what would be an effective way to break the ice? Remove initial anxiety around sharing with strangers. Okay. So those are, we just generated some questions, and actually when we do the full process, there's a whole, we'll be spending quite a while going into questions that we're going to do for our research. So what we want to do now is take 6 minutes each and do interviews. So I put down the names of who can interview who, so just for doing it quickly. So Xuan, you can interview Tim, and you'll have 6 minutes for that, and I'll keep time on it, and you can ask any questions you want, and there's a couple kind of already there, but you don't have to use those. So yeah, take it away. So you're asking about his experience with the empathy circle and kind of looking for maybe pain points or needs on how to improve it. You're muted.
Muted.
Oh, sorry, I totally forgot that. Sorry. So hi, Tim.
Oh.
Hi. By the way, question: are we going to? Are other people going to transcribe it?
Oh, I forgot. Thank you. Yes. So the rest of us who aren't, thank you for that. We're going to actually transcribe what it is that we heard. So you bring up the document, and just as yeah, so the three of us will transcribe. So she's free to just do the interview, and we're going to record it. Thank you for that.
Awesome. Thanks. All right. So hi, Tim.
Hi.
I'm going to start with the first question, which is, what was your experience of the empathy circle? Just some general experience that pops up to your mind now.
My experience of it was I found it really difficult to actually concentrate on what people were saying, because I think I was preoccupied with the process and the looking at what was going on the screens, the technology. I found it wasn't that I wasn't listening. I just found that I found it really amazing how distracted I was by what was going on with the screen and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So that connects to my next question, which is, what are some disadvantages and maybe advantages you have observed about using this kind of technology for empathy circle instead of doing this with people sitting in the same room? Let's start with disadvantage, shall we?
The disadvantage was the kind of stopping and starting aspect of what the technology is making us do, is be really conscious of like who is speaking when, and the stop start kind of aspect of it was really distracting. So distracting, I was almost not able to kind of think about what it was that I was going to say, because I was thinking, how much time is allotted to this section before we move on, and in which order do I speak to who or listen to who? So that element of it I found really difficult.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Do you see some advantages? Things you felt good about that you think we should strengthen it?
Say again, sorry?
Do you see some advantages of using technology, things that you feel really good about and we should probably strengthen it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the fact that we're just sort of geographically so distant from each other doing this is kind of amazing, but it's almost it still feels like we're kind of in the Stone Age in terms of being able to connect without having to think about the other stuff that's going on. So for me, the technology is like massively kind of getting in the way of me actually connecting with you guys in terms of you as people, but also the content that's going on, and that's something that I'm just fascinated by, because it in some ways it's really enabling, and in other ways it is super frustrating, because I feel like I'm not really being myself, I guess. I'm being somebody who's sat in front of technology, saying things in a specific in an ordered kind of process, as opposed to just being sat in a room. It would be really, really different, I feel, anyway.
Yeah, yes. I definitely understand the frustration and the confusion there. Because like I said, I also had similar experience when I was using this interface the first time. So that makes me wonder, because you deal with technology a lot, when people get more used to a technology, does that help them to reduce anxiety? And does that apply to this interface circle? If we do it next time, do you think the anxiety will be reduced because the familiarity with the media?
I'm sure. I'm sure it's going to evolve and get to that point. But the thing that I really struggle with is the physical presence aspect, and all of the stuff that goes on that's non-verbal. So you know, even something as simple as eye contact, and for example, whereabouts our little our images are on the screen. It's interesting to me the difference between me looking at you down there and me looking at you here.
Yes.
and what's going on in terms of connecting with stuff like eye contact that the technology will likely be able to get to a point of addressing, but at the moment it doesn't, and it messes things up. It creates more. It creates even more disconnection. Just something as simple as me talking to you, and I'm looking down at the corner of the screen.
So 30 seconds. Sorry.
There's a sense of disconnection even on that level that is really strange.
Yes. Okay. So then do you see ways to resolve this? Because I know you've been working with creative solutions and design, so do you see a solution here?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There are. That's why I'm interested in taking part in this course, is to see if we can kind of come up with even just some simple ways of doing that, making differences like that. The first thing I would do is move the thumbnails, figure out a way to just reposition them so that they're up here, so we're actually looking and talking to each other as opposed to talking, looking at each other kind of down here. That's there are probably lots of little simple things that could make a difference.
Okay, so that's it. That's in time. So if we go to the next page, Tim interviews Mercedes.
Okay.
And that's on page 7 for the rest of us who are taking notes.
Am I going to ask Mercedes the same? Is it the same questions?
You're totally free to ask anything you want. There's a couple questions there, but it's totally up to you to ask whatever you would like.
Well, did you have any troubles with it, Mercedes, or what did you think worked versus didn't? Oh, your microphone's not on, or I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you either, Onur. I can't unlock it. It shows that it should be here. It looks like it should be working. Did something get disconnected?
Is your headphone jack plugged in properly? Oh, she disappeared.
Oh, now it shows she's off. I don't know what is happening.
Hello?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yay.
And your camera is, there you go. Huh.
I don't know. Okay, this stuff went by itself.
Uh-huh. So sometimes I found just turning it on and off is something, it happened to me before too. I just had to turn it on and off. So, okay, I think we're set. Technology, exactly.
That's basically the solution to everything.
Reboot.
Yeah. Well, of course, team, this is kind of annoying, you know, when you are talking. If now you were just asking me a question, but if I was talking to you about something that is important for me, and the microphone goes off or the camera goes off, and I am a shy person, probably, you know, I build all my courage to start talking, and I stop talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
For example, when Sean was interviewing you, there were moments where I couldn't hear her questions or understand what she was asking you. And because of your answers, I could infer the questions.
Oh.
But then I was thinking, how many people, when you are in a group, will be able to do that? Because here we all have experience in research, you know. So we are somehow used to work with people. But if I am working in a group that we are just building empathy with a community group, with kids, with co-workers, these things could be deal breakers, you know.
Right. Are you talking about the that when the technology, when things kind of when the video or the sound kind of breaks, because you lose your train of thought, it makes it difficult to kind of keep that connection going with the others.
Yes. It doesn't bother me. I'm used to it, but I'm thinking about some people who I work. If I invite them to the circle, what this will do to them.
Right. Right.
And I know they will shut themselves. So that's one thing that I would like to think about. Now, I liked about the group, about the process, that because, you know, the positive things of following a template, it's that we all feel that we are doing the same. And once one starts, it's kind of easy going around. And I felt that somehow, despite we talked about anxiety at first, anxiety was kind of, you know, lowering as we run up through the template with all the members of the circle. My worries about using a template is that sometimes not everybody processes information, emotions in the same way. And it might not work. It works. When I was asking before about how can we make this process creative in a way that can use different channels and it doesn't become stuck, it's because if you have done it several times, there will be a moment where you can just, you know, just talk, but you are not really engaging from a place of vulnerability, which is for me a place where you create empathy.
Yeah.
It's not.
So are you saying that the are you talking about spontaneity?
Yes, not only spontaneity. I'm talking about how the process itself can be recreated inside the group.
Right.
For me, for example, I'm sure for me, because I am assisting the group as a, you know, I want to build it, I want to find ways, I am a researcher, I am a, you know, but if I was just somebody trying to learn to be more empathic with my characteristics as a human being, in the third or fourth circle, I will be already bored.
Right, right. Right.
So my idea is, how can we stop this from happening?
Mm.
Or how can I just, I just follow what everybody is saying in the way everybody is saying it, instead of really engaging from a point of view of empathy, which is I will be anxious, I will be nervous, I will fear making mistakes. What tools can we give people to help them not become themselves a template in the circle?
Mm.
Can you? It's hard for me to explain in this moment, but can you somehow get?
Yeah, I think what I think what I hear you talking about is maybe there are two levels to it. There's the participating, and there's the observing of what's going on. And it's a question, around on what levels are you just free to just participate and not worry about, or not even think about what's going on with the process, versus
I
couldn't
can hear other people talking, and okay, what I was feeling is, in the moment, if I participate in an aerobic class, it's very healthy, we all do the same, and we do exercise, and it builds oxytocin, and we are all happy. But after 2 weeks of doing the same kind of exercises, I don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
So the process of growth in the building muscle or building energy or whatever stops or reverts. So my question in this moment is, how do we prevent in an empathy circle that to happen?
Right. So you're saying you're concerned about ways of stopping the process, making everything stale.
Yes.
Kind of almost like, how does it does the process?
That was the time. Just want to say we went for 6 minutes, so we should move on. So.
All right.
So yeah, Mercedes, you now interview Melissa, and I think we have Luisa. Is that you're muted?
Sorry, I'm very sorry for the misconvenience. I misplaced time and space, and had to move today, so I arrived so late. I'm very, very sorry. Please, all of you, excuse me. I'm sorry for interrupting you as well. I was.
So we're doing interviews now. So I'm hearing you had to move, and you're apologizing for being late, and you're.
Yeah.
And do you want to just do a quick, and you're sorry, and do you want to do a quick just introduction of who you are, and we'll.
Sure.
I'd like 30 seconds.
Do that. I just graduated architecture faculty. I became interested in empathy while working in an association through which we tried to get people more involved into the decision-making process. We were trying to level up the quality of life by implicating people into the urban life. And through this project, I ended up meeting directly, coming to meet the real problems that people have, understanding each other, understanding each other as a small community or large community, in pairs or in profession as well. So that is when I first thought that empathy as a lack of the process of relating with the others, and I don't know, maybe it's a cliche, but try to make a better world where we understand better with each other. And I'm a bit nervous, sorry, because I was late, so I...
Okay, so thank you for that. I'm hearing that was one of our topics was anxiety. So we actually talked about that. So
Yeah.
you're in good company. Other people are feeling anxious too. So for the rest of it, you'll probably just be more of an observer since you need to kind of take part in what we were doing. So we're going through interviews now, and it was Mercedes was going to, and you can also mute too, if in
Yeah,
terms of
I discovered
background
that
noise.
a bit late. As well.
So we're just going to continue with the interviews, and it looks like Melissa's been having some trouble connecting, kind of dropping out. I don't know if she's back.
Melissa? No, I cannot see her.
Okay, then technology. Yeah, there we go with the technology. So I guess we could. Do you want to then interview Schwan?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Hello, Shwan.
Hello, Mercedes.
Well, because you have been experienced in this process of the empathy circle, what do you wish it will be different?
I don't have a clear answer yet. Let me just start by saying what's different this time. So this time I noticed that everyone mute when other people are talking. I find that actually very bizarre because, and sometimes, like, you know, when another person is having a good point, you want to say, yeah, right. Like you just want to acknowledge that. But now when people are muted, then you might still do that spontaneously. I mean, as the audience, the listener, another person who's not in this active conversation, but the person who's speaking can't hear you. And that's very unnatural. It's not what we do in life. So that's why I just wonder why people mute. That's I'm having trouble with it. And also the muting, turning it on, turning it off, like it's pretty awkward. Sometimes we just forget turning it off. So that's something that really puzzles me, I think, right now. And I mean, I totally understand if someone's having a very noisy background, that's understandable. But otherwise, I think we should encourage people to turn on the mic instead of turning it off, so that we can have a more like when just small information going on, just saying yes or something, like back channeling. I think that's one observation. But that probably didn't answer your question. So can you say the question again?
Yes, I will like it's. I find interesting that you said that you find this process unnatural.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever experienced in this group of empathy circles some kind of activity that you feel more natural, that it feels more like real life?
Well, I guess on that note, what I was just saying just before was that as long as you turn on the mic, it's natural. It's simple. But on other aspects, I don't have an answer yet. Could you ask some more questions that might help me to think more?
What will you like to add, if you have the chance to add something to the group, something that comes naturally to you? What will come first to your mind? If I tell you you have the liberty to change the template, what will come to your mind naturally?
Yes. Well, it's funny. It might be unnatural for other people, but when Tim was talking about presence, since recently I've been working a lot with robots and the telepresence, I'm just wondering how that might help people. I mean, there isn't a clear solution here, but just have an embodiment, because presence is all about embodiment. Just have a way to have another person embodied in this situation, then I guess that might make this feel a bit better. I don't know how to solve that yet, because if you have, let's say, if you have a home robot, you can't have that embody many people at the same time. It's just like another computer that So
I'm sorry, Xuan. It's sometimes I listen to you, and sometimes the voice goes to things like when you move, I can hear you sometimes on others note. Let me tell you what I understood. You were talking about paraphrasing team and telling me that environment, the presence, it's something that you feel it's lacking.
well, I do mean that Tim mentioned this, and I think there might be a solution which is using robot, the telepresence device. But I don't know how to solve that yet. I'm just saying that this is a problem we could possibly resolve. That's what I mean.
Why robots?
Because they have an embodiment. They are present. So I mean, now we are going too much into research, but just bear with me for a second. There's research about how have the embodiment of a robot as the person, the other party in negotiation, and how that changed negotiation. Like just having something to physical to represent your presence there. But I'd like to stop talking about robots and let's talk more about this conversation.
Interesting. So probably adding things that might be, might not be our first thoughts about how to run a circle. You think it could bring those difference, those magic touch that could make these circles really grow and expand?
Yes, definitely. I know several techniques that can speak to this. One is create something together. That when people not only follow it but create something together, that's a natural way for people to bond. Another way is body contact, which is a fantastic way to bond people. And another way is to share secrets, which are just embarrassing things, which magically make people get closer. And I think there are a few more things, but I can't recall them at this moment. But yes, I definitely think so.
Thank you. How do you find different this experience with us from the other ones you have had before in the group? Is there any?
Yes, I think it's equally enlightening and inspiring. It's just I'm having trouble with people turning off their mic.
I listen. Okay. So I'm listening to you. That what?
Oh, so I was just saying thank you to. What's your name? I'm sorry.
Mercedes.
Yeah, I'm Luisa.
Yes, exactly. So you see, that's when you have multiple people. Sometimes there are back information going on. So sorry. Since she just turned on her mic, and I was saying thank you to her.
Oh,
because she said that she wasn't feeling comfortably with people turning off their mics because that doesn't seem comfortable to her. So I turned on my mic. So I was okay. Having a moment.
Thank you. You don't have to, but I really appreciate that.
Okay. Any other thing you would like to point out about things to improve our experience besides turning the microphone and creating an environment?
I think another thing that Edwin did today, and Luca, can you pronounce your name again? I'm so sorry.
Me?
No. So see if I could point. That would be fantastic.
Okay, so I have another name that's easier to pronounce. You can call me Lulu.
Lulu. Oh, that's cute. Okay, so I think Edwin and Lulu both did this today, and I suggested when I was doing it last time that you have more, I guess, research called this back channeling, which is non-verbal gestures. They did a thumb up to me today, and that made me feel really good. So I think that's something I think we should encourage.
verbal gestures. I'm hearing you would like to encourage verbal gestures.
Non-verbal
inside the
gestures,
group.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, that's the time.
Yes.
Yeah. Yay, good. Okay, more. So I guess that would be. How are we on time here? Is everybody interviewed? Sorry, kind of since I don't know what happened to Melissa, so it's kind of thrown off. Is everyone interviewed, or I haven't been interviewed yet? So
Lulu has an interview. Haven't interviewed anybody, Lulu.
okay, do you want to? We just did.
Okay. Can you tell me the rules of the interview?
Yeah, you've got 6 minutes to interview me about the experience in the empathy circle.
Okay.
So, and this is you can for the others can do transcription on page 10. So take notes. So you're basically, we did this empathy circle, so you're basically asking me about what was my experience in this empathy circle.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
What was the thing that you have learned from these empathy circles that struck you the most, like that came like a shot, something that you wouldn't have thought about?
There was no big insight except that I'm realizing that a real empathy circle is like 2 hours, and we're only doing it in like 45 minutes. So it's very compressed. So there's a real feeling of compression around it, and usually having like 4 people in a circle is, I find, the best in terms of people getting to talk and share and be involved, because if like we're going to have like 6 in the group, so we're going to just like we're having like a little taste of the empathy circle. So it's kind of skewing the experience. So the experience for everyone is not like a full empathy circle experience, but I guess it's the prototype. So at least we're testing something. So that's good. We're doing something, but it's not the full experience. And one thing I'm thinking is if everybody, I don't know why I speak so loud here when I feel like I gotta talk. Martin says I talk to that, which is a technological thing, right? It's like it's kind of weird.
I
So
have an assumption. I want to run a research study on this, but I think that when you can't hear other people, you just adjust up your volume. I have this hypothesis, but I need to do a study. Yep.
You're back.
whoa. I'm back. I don't know what happened, but something. I kind of.
I hear you. Your image. Okay, now it's coming. Okay, there you are.
It's like I totally crashed, and then the whole thing rebooted. So that's the other thing is the technological issues with this is we're having a lot of these little technical things. Seems like Melissa was dropping in and out. So there's kind of the awareness of the technical problems, and if we were talking about really deep emotional issues, that would be a problem. It's like, you know, so I'd say some things that could be done is, you know, maybe something we could do is if everybody did an empathy circle at home with their family, their partners, or their friends, and did a 2-hour to get a full experience of it. That would be something, an idea. So I didn't have any great, huge insight. Like I guess you were looking for a great insight. I feel like I've disappointed you.
Not at all. It was just a question, trying to figure things out. And then, do you think we should think about at a hierarchy of empathic fields, or have you done this before? Of levels of empathy and target audience of empathy, and how do we relate, and how empathy changes regarding the number of people we relate to, if it levels down or not.
Yeah, there's a whole series. There's a lot of different points around that. One is how many people do we have in the circle is one thing. How much we've done the circle. What is the opening question that we have? Different questions will have different effects. Doing it in person will have different effects. I'm seeing that empathy circles can be used in the family, so that's like it would need to be tweaked for the family. It can be used in a work environment. So it's like every point, there's so many branches that we could, different versions of it to that I guess each aspect has different outcomes. You know, the question, like if we had the question of what is a anxiety we're feeling, that creates one kind of an environment. Whereas if we talk about what are your why is empathy important to you, or going into the intentions, would have kind of steer things in a different way, as well as just talk about whatever is on your mind at the moment. That leads in a different direction. So the opening question sets the stage for a whole spectrum of experiences. The amount of people creates a spectrum, and how often we've done it creates a sort of, there's this whole constellation of possibilities here. So, and I'd like to explore them all too. I'd like to create empathy circles for families, create an empathy circle, and that's for doing it in person, in a work environment, in the school environment, etc. So that was 6 minutes. So thank you for that. And I haven't seen anything. As Melissa emailed, yes. Melissa's just saying that she fell out of this circle and not sure why she has trouble getting in. And you know, I did one of these with Republicans and Democrats doing a mediation. We ran into a lot of technical issues because it was the first time, and it was really hard in terms of the technology. I'm going to send her an invite directly. And but I have found that by doing these over and over again, that we have a fixed group that meets every week, that, you know, everything kind of settles and it actually works pretty well. So those are just a couple of points. So the next thing we want to do is, I think, has everybody been interviewed except Lulu? I think, okay, so I want to be sure. So we want to take 5 minutes. We took these notes, and the notes are, you know, need a little bit of organization. So we're going to just take 5 minutes to clean up the notes that we took, transcripts. And Lulu, I can show you I'll put the link in on this chat on the side here. That's the Google Doc that we're working from. So we'll just, let me start. We've got 5 minutes just to clean that up, and then we'll go to the next stage.
Wait.
It's on the chat window. On the left, there's a blue button at the top that opens the chat window on the right side.
Now it all makes sense. Okay, I found it.
Okay, great.
Oh, hello again.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, crazy. I'm sorry, I feel very disconnected from you all now.
So I'm hearing everything's crazy and you're feeling disconnected from us?
Oh, yes, jumping right back in. Sorry.
Is there more?
I have no idea what's happening. My connection just keeps going away and I can't get it back. So I'm frustrated that I'm not participating as we were. I've missed so much. So I'd like to just have a moment to read through the notes of what's been said. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah.
To bring myself back up to speed?
We're just cleaning up the notes right now, so you can. We're taking another couple minutes to clean it up, and then we're going to go to the next step. So we've got about a minute to clean up those notes. So.
How do I get my my? Oh wait, here. I got it. Okay.
Okay, so we're doing next is we're moving on to page 12 of the document, and that's step 2 for the empathy map. And what we're going to do is, for the person that we interviewed, we're going to go back and look at the interview and find just one insight statement that we have from what the person said. What is the oh, we lost Melissa again. Wow, this is a real technological problem here. Wonder what that could be. So we're going to see. It was kind of. So we're going to see what is just one kind of statement that you have, one insight from the interview, and there's an example here, which is in this. There's a little table there, so we're kind of defining the problem, like what is one problem area, and we're looking for the feelings and needs. So it's the example is that Jane interviewed John, and Jane sees that her insight is that John feels he is not doing the empathic listening well, and he would like more guidance about how to do it and if he is doing it correctly. So he's feeling like a sense of insecurity. He's feeling, in terms of the felt experience he has, he feels anxious, he feels frustrated, he feels discontented. And what are the related needs? And so there's a deeper needs, or he needs understanding, he needs ease, he needs confidence, he needs to feel connected. So I'm imagining, Melissa, you might be feeling a little frustrated and a bit anxious, and you're needing, you know, ease and connection and maybe understanding or something like that in terms of the problem of the technology.
Yeah.
So see, I got that. So what we want to do is, so go on the chart underneath, and we're not going to do the interview with you, Melissa, just because we need to move on. So sorry about that, but we'll try to catch you next time around that. So put in your name and then the name of the person you interviewed, and then just like a one-sentence insight about what is it about them that really stands out for you, especially like a problem or need. And in the future, there's a list, a needs and feelings list. You can actually download that, and it's good to have that printed out so it will actually help you kind of hone in on feelings and needs. So just go back and, did I interview anybody?
Where is the list of feelings I can download?
That is, if you see on the empathy map, you see that step 2 empathy map. It's on page 12.
Yeah.
And then right there are sample feelings and needs, and there's a printable PDF. So you can actually click on those links. If the PDFs, you can actually download them, or the other one is just the web page.
Okay, I found them.
Click on that, yeah, it's right there.
Oh.
It's handy to have that printed out, because then you can, you can. But that's for the next time. When we do it again, we'll be more prepared.
I'm lost. Are we going to fill this chart or not?
Yeah, you're filling in the chart. So let's see, who did you interview? You interviewed Xuan. So I can kind of help with that. So if you see the first one, Mercedes interviews.
I'm doing the one below already.
Okay, I see. All right.
Okay.
So we're just taking about 5 minutes to write that in.
The dock has completely crashed for me.
Yeah, that's happened to me before. I just need to relaunch it.
Wow, it's unbelievably frustrating, this document. I'll just share that.
so
I'll just share that with you.
In what way is it frustrating?
Well, because it crashes, and finding my way around it is so slow.
Oh.
And there's no way of really, when it crashed, I didn't know. It's unclear as to what's going on with it. I'm assuming that they're asking that you just have to reload it. Is that right?
Yeah, once it crashes, it's the only way is to relaunch it.
And I couldn't open the needs PDF. I think I have so many things open that I
Yeah.
you know, when you have the Google Hangouts, there are other things that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's why it's good to print it out. So the first time is going to be a bit rough. As time goes on, it kind of smooths out. We get more familiar with it. So I think that might be a good thing to mention.
Okay.
So okay, then that was the time. Mercedes, do you want to share your? So what we're going to do is now share the insight that we had and the feelings and needs, and then check for feedback if that was how accurate that was with the.
Okay. So I felt Xuan's most pressing issue was that she felt disconnected from the group and not being able to relate to the others because the structure doesn't allow it. And she didn't know how to solve the problem of how to make the feelings of presence be there. So feelings, I just put frustration, disconnection, and the needs, I put physical connection, an idea of presence, how to engage with the group with less structured participation, voicing my feelings when they happen.
Okay, do you want to check, Xuan? How does that?
Me? Yeah. I can't say I fully agree. Normally I would agree, but like here I feel that there could be some misunderstanding, miscommunication. One thing, I agree that I think it's uncomfortable to get disconnected because the mic is turned off. So I'm definitely thinking that there is a very simple way to solve that, which is to turn on the mic. Like just now, Tim had this frustration. We can all kind of agree on that since we didn't turn our mic off. Otherwise, Tim will just speak to no one. No one's responding. It's a super simple fix. So I think there is a very easy way to fix this. And another one is about the presence. In presence, I think it's a very good point that Tim brought up, and I think it's a very good point, so I want to echo that. But personally, I don't have a problem with that, but there are always ways to improve it, let's say, having body contact with each other. So, and I also kind of brainstormed about a robot, but it doesn't really work well at this stage, so it's difficult to solve, but I think there are ways to solve it. So that's my point on this. So the feeling is more about inspiration. This connection maybe a little bit because mics are turned off. I'm just pounding on this point, but not frustration.
Okay.
Until now, I guess. So I think mostly inspiration and some disconnection, I think. And yeah. I didn't really mention voice my feelings when they happen, but I did mention other people doing thumb up when they feel they agree with something. So it's more about encouraging other people to gesture, like using nonverbal gestures to communicate feelings. So that's connected, but I feel that I was saying something slightly different. So that's my feedback, I guess.
Okay, so the needs was more physical physical gesturing, some kind of like feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then you're doing the next one. Xuan, you did Tim.
Yes. So I think Tim had many very good insights and very many excellent observations. Among all of them, I think one thing is particularly triggering to me, which is the technology makes it difficult to have eye contact. So he's looking at the corner of the screen, which locates his camera, but he could instead, if the camera is placed at another location, he could just be looking into the camera, and then it seems like we are having real eye contact. I think that's a fascinating point. So that's the biggest takeaway I got. And the feelings, one is frustration, which he mentioned the specific word a few times. And another thing is he was saying that it's surprisingly difficult to concentrate. And he constantly got distracted. So I think that the most promising need is one of the most prominent need is to have connection. That's my takeaway.
You're muted if you want to kind of just respond. Still muted.
Yeah. Yeah, that you got it. I have a. It really is like super frustrating. I'm feeling extra frustrated at the moment because I just wasn't able to edit or even reload the Google Doc. So there are yeah, for me the technology is definitely getting in the way because I'm focused now on Google's lack of user experience design as opposed to the content of what we're all supposed to be concentrating on at the moment.
Okay, thanks for that. So Lulu, you're now sharing the interview with me.
Yep. Well, I felt like we were a bit disappointed because of the difficulties to administrate empathy at high level or at more levels in these kind of groups, because we don't have enough time, and the number of people can also be problematic. So I felt like relayed feeling to be a bit of unconfidence regarding the process as being very high leveled, and needs. I saw like you wanted to have cooperation in extending the group the empathy circles. And I think that there was also the need to be able to quantify results that I assume that is normal to have.
I didn't really think about quantifying results. I guess I kind of think of I like to document, so we have a record of this. So I like the record keeping, so we can go back and use this material. I didn't feel like it's confidence. I guess it's more curiosity. Actually, I would say I'm putting curiosity. I have curiosity because I realize that there's going to be difficulties, and it's more like curiosity of how to resolve the difficulties. So it doesn't feel like lack of confidence. I feel pretty confident about this. That since I've done a lot of these empathy circles and have seen them work, so I feel pretty confident that it's all doable. Feel maybe a little sad, I would say, sad about the frustrations that people might be feeling. So there's a little bit of sadness around that, and I feel very optimistic that it can be resolved, that we can kind of work through it. So that's kind of going in a little bit deeper I'm going to just remove the unconfidence. I don't think that really lands, you know, for...
Okay.
I feel kind of curious, a little sad, and also optimistic.
Closer. I didn't think of sad. I would have put it in the place of unconfident as well. It was a tiny bit of sadness.
Yeah.
And
I would say that the need is also for effectiveness. I'm wanting to have effectiveness, but also grow. So I have a need for growth and effectiveness, I would say, around this. So just to kind of be more accurate with my experience. So,
can I chime in? Word? I definitely share your feeling this time that I'm also a bit surprised by the level of frustration, which even I definitely got it this time. Like, I didn't experience any frustration last time, but this word pops up again and again this time in the empathy circle, and it's. I mean, I'm curious too. I totally share your feeling and observation. I feel this is definitely contagious because I normally don't get frustrated at all.
We have frustration contagion, maybe.
Oh.
So I was just thinking, Melissa, do you want to say one insight that you've had just about your experience? Like, we'll get just what is the one thing that you really have had as an insight? We'll put that down below.
Well, let's see here. Am I off? Yeah.
I'll write
I'm
it.
off.
I'll write it. You can, if you just share it.
Well, I think I found this really tiring. I couldn't laugh when I wanted to laugh. I couldn't add what I wanted to add. A little bit of like what Tim was saying. He couldn't really be himself. It felt like, yeah, the process was. Now, it wasn't that the process was running, but that you just wanted to be maybe respectful to the process and to the others and give them the room to say. But, yeah, it was tiring for me. Yeah, maybe because I feel like sometimes, although I know I'm learning and this is at the beginning of the process, you know, the ability to just mirror the sentiments, I feel like I'm just kind of repeating someone else's words and not really able to creatively reformat them into my own vocabulary. And because of that, I don't remember what anybody said to me. I mean, if I look back on the conversations without looking at the notes, I get little snippets, but I can't remember the whole conversation because I was trying so hard just to do justice to what they were saying to regurgitate it, you know?
Okay.
So I guess I'm feeling kind of tired and a little bit sad too. And also, hello, Lulu.
Hey!
We haven't said hi. Sorry.
You. And don't be sad and laugh. We shouldn't stop laughing. Don't stop yourself.
The rest? No. Laughter was my first gesture.
Cool.
Okay, so I was hearing there's you're feeling a little tired and sad, and maybe you have a need for creativity, and that need isn't really being but you have a need for creativity and maybe connection.
Well, I think it's more the conversation. I have, yeah, and to maybe authenticity. I want to put myself into what I'm saying. I want to respond to people with my own words, and I guess I'm just trying to say what they say. And you know, I guess when I think of empathy, it's not only just the cognitive ability to understand someone else's perspective, but also to be able to let it sink and relate and bring yourself forth in your response by doing also justice to what they're saying and not overwhelming with sympathy. That's not what I mean, but yeah, it's some kind of, I don't feel like I'm connecting.
Okay. So it's you're needing creativity, authenticity, and connection.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like that kind of captures it?
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's move on to the next stage here.
Can I say something? Can I say something about, about what Melissa just mentioned? So,
okay.
I think the thing that's really interesting is when you were talking or reflecting that point of not being able to remember the specifics of what went on. Oftentimes, just when you're in a room with people working on something, designing, that it's that spontaneous response is really where the kind of big ideas have come from, in my experience. So
it's that electricity. It's something something actually tangible. I mean, you can't see it, but you do feel just the way you look at somebody or the way they sit. You're like, yep, they get it. You know, it just
exactly.
And that's like, I think it's funny because when I speak to my family, they know me so well. They get me. They understand my eye twitch or hand movement or something. And maybe it's because we're still strangers and haven't yet built that trust or relationship with each other that it still feels so challenging. Maybe. Only as an offer.
Yeah.
And I think another possibility is to connect to Tim's point on spontaneity is because the structured empathy circle might not allow a lot of opportunities for spontaneity. Because you have to speak at this moment, you have to listen at that moment. And sometimes when feelings come to you, it's not your turn, that you have to try to suppress, and that makes you feel tired and also feeling not yourself. That could also be a reason of the highly structured format. You know, I'm saying it definitely has its advantage, but at the same time, it might work against spontaneity.
Yeah, there's. Yeah, there's. We're also just kind of getting started. So we're taking. It's all good. So all the pain and suffering around the empathy circle, we want to capture that because that is what we are redesigning for. So it's great to hear the pain, the suffering, and the joy because we're constantly iterating and around that. And every insight is something that becomes something that we can work with and just keep designing and redesigning. So it's just to kind of give that context.
Because I guess if we understood each other all the time, we wouldn't need an empathy circle, right?
Yes. Yeah, Sadie.
I was, thinking about what Melissa said, that I felt a lot about that she captured quite well part of my feelings when I said, what is the difference between running a template and being really empathic? And Tim then added that many great ideas come from spontaneity, from being authentic. And sometimes when running a template, you don't know how to do that. But in the experience with Xuan, I was thinking there has to be a middle turn because it's very easy when we are spontaneous, authentic, to misinterpret what others are saying or to filter through our own stories. And so how can we find a way to still be spontaneous, to still... I loved what you said, Melissa, about not only feeling empathy from a cognitive place, but still have that assertive view of what the other is feeling and saying because of him, not because of how we interpret it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we go into that too much, what we want to do is we've heard the different what the different problems or the needs that people have. So we want to take those needs and go to the next page, page 15, And so we can work a bit more with those. And that's step 4, define one problem need. So we've got this whole series of pains, frustrations, sadness, and a variety of needs. We want to lay those out and then hone in on one that we can kind of concentrate on. If we go to the next page, you can write down what is like a problem area. You can just copy and paste it over, and then we can either vote on it or we can kind of merge them. Like, what is it that we see as the one real problem area that we're dealing with here, that we want to work on? Do you see that page? So just take a couple minutes to.
Page 15, right?
Page 15, right. So you would take, for example, the interview with me, and you could just copy over what the problem is that you're seeing as the main problem. Okay, so you're still writing. Okay, so do you want to go through and just read the one you wrote, the first one, getting connected? Or I guess I can read it. Getting connected. How do we get connected through the empathy circle? Lack of time. People don't get the time they need to express themselves, not only as students, but as human beings. 3, the desire for a more real human experience using space-only method of communication. How to make the process of building empathy less artificial. And some participants feel very frustrated with the technology inhibiting connection in the empathy circle. So do we see a general pattern? We want to merge those into one problem statement. Is there any merging that we can do, or we can just vote on which one we want to work on?
Well, I think it wouldn't be very wrong to see that connection is the problem identified by all of us, being technology or by space, division, or time. All the problems refer to the same topic, which is connection, which is good for empathy.
Okay, so it's about the you're saying the connection is kind of like the issue, like the sense of connection and technology. So does the last one, some participants are feeling very frustrated with the technology inhibiting connection in the empathy circle.
I see two trends. I see that one that Joan is talking about, the connecting in various levels, physical or communicating or technology. But I also see one that it's about how it works in real life. When we talk about the only method how to express really as human beings.
Okay,
so one is about the form, and the other is about the tools we use.
Okay, so it's form, it's like the structure, and then the tools, and how do we kind of be more real?
Yeah.
And the problem is we're not being real as maybe we want to be. Did I mess that up?
I think so.
Okay, is there any more, or we can then, it looks like you feel free to merge them and edit them around. Otherwise, we can just jump in and vote on which one. So you can put your name next to the one that you see as the problem, and we're just going to vote which one we're going to work on. So I'll just...
We vote for several different questions or just one?
do you have any advice on that? Do you think it's having a couple of votes is better?
Well, I definitely want to vote for the last one, but I also want to vote for my question on connection.
Okay, so let's do 2 votes. You get 2 votes, and you can put them wherever you want. So I'm going to vote for this one twice.
I think it's also just the word connection in the last sentence isn't only just the connection because our computers are not on and working, but the connection of connecting with each other and feeling like we know each other. So, feeling like we understand each other. That's where I see that word connection, not just a technical issue, but
Yeah.
a connection as that through this practice of empathic listening that we actually have a deeper understanding of each other.
So is it inhibiting our human connection like that?
Our human connection. That's
I mean,
yeah, that was what the intention was. I was meaning that not the connection with the technology, but our...
Just to make sure.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, okay, then that looks like that's the one that won it for this time. So we have the problems are still there. We can always go back to it. So we're going to the next to translate. We have the problem statement now, and we want to translate that into a how might we. So we're still defining. We've have all of our insights. We're honing in on one problem area, and we want to translate that into a how might we statement. So the how might we statement kind of gives it an actionable quality to it. So it's like, how might we? So how might we? You can write you can make your own how might we out of that, and then we can choose which of those we work on. And if you see one there that you want to rewrite a little bit, you can do that too. Okay, so we have 3 of them, it looks like. How might we support better human connection in the empathy circle? How might we better use technology to facilitate our goal to use the empathy circle format to understand each other better on a deeper level? And how might we recover moments from outside technology to blur the disruption? So how does everyone feel about those? Quick comment, go for it, Tim. You're muted.
I'm going to vote for the first one because it's easy to understand.
Did you say that we're now voting on?
We have just a few moments just to comment on them, or if there's any kind of a tweak or something. You can modify it a little bit too.
Right.
Now that we are modified, now we are modifying number 1 to make it the same as number 2. They were different.
Yeah. Okay.
The second one is more geared towards using technology. First
And
one.
the other is human connection in the empathy circle, not technology.
I think it's more general than the second one. It applies to situations when you use empathy circle with your friends, your family.
Yeah. Okay, so we could vote on it then, unless there's another comment. Vote. Okay.
Do we still have 2 votes?
I think no, it's like no. Okay, so it looks like the first one. How might we support better human connection in the empathy circle? So it looks like Lulu wants to vote over there for the technology one. So the number 1 wins. So we're moving on to step 6. And we're putting in our how might we question. So this is the brainstorming session of the group. And what we want to do is, if you have a piece of paper, we want to take about 10 minutes to brainstorm ideas. And you can brainstorm ideas onto the paper and then transfer them onto, or you can write directly onto the next page, number 18. And so let me get the timer. So this is, if you're familiar with brainstorming, you want to defer judgment, not criticize your ideas. Get wild ideas, get as wild as possible. Once we start writing them out there, we'll share them, and then we'll build on each other's ideas. And try to stay focused on our design challenge, on our question, which is how might we support better human connection in the empathy circle. And it's nice to be visual. It's good to have visual. So you can be visual on the drawing here, and then later on we can scan them and you can send it to me and I'll add them to the document. And try to go for quantity. Just whatever's coming up, just jot it down. Don't edit, just go for the quantity. So we got about 10 minutes for that.
Wait, so we are making drawings for each? I'm sorry.
For your idea. Yeah, you take a sheet of paper, you can make 6 sections, and then draw or sketch or just write in your ideas. And that's one problem with the technology. We can't draw on this online, so it's kind of a, I don't know, is that clear? Or I don't know if I answered your question, Lulu.
So we write the ideas in our blank sheet of paper, or we do it in number 18 here?
We do both. You can
Okay.
use you can draw here. We can't draw on the document, so you can draw your ideas here, but then write it into the document.
Okay.
Okay, you'll want to start writing the ideas on the document, page 18 now. We've got a couple minutes to write transfer your ideas to the document. Whoa, somebody deleted the document?
I don't know. The document went blank while I was writing.
You can hit backspace.
No, it's not. Mine is not answering. It went, when I was writing, it went out.
Or the back arrow?
Yeah, if you hit the back arrow on your page, maybe somebody... There's
I'm
a back...
doing it and it doesn't do...
Oh, for everybody, maybe just hit the back arrow.
Nope. Neither.
Stay on the page. I can see it. Let me see.
Yeah, the
No,
whole
I
page
cannot.
is... Oh, brother.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, somebody somebody's like highlighted the whole document. So you need to, you can see everything's in highlight. So, yeah, there it goes. That got rid of it. Whew, that was close. Somehow somebody selected all, I think, and then... So, okay, I think we're back. What was that page? Our brainstorming. So we're, yeah, page 18 for the brainstorming. So we're kind of running out of time, so I guess we'll just quickly go through the ideas. We're not going to be able to finish the full, kind of the full, you know, kind of getting to our final prototype. But so I'll start, and anybody can jump in, and you can add other ideas as well on top of it, kind of build on that. So my idea is that we have our design challenge. How might we support better human connection in the empathy circle? So the thing is, I'm seeing there's a need for more prep work. So so what I'm thinking is to do some full empathy circles in person. So if we have everybody does an empathy circle at home or with your family or friends, so you get and do a full 2-hour one, so you get to experience the full process because we're only doing a little piece. Create a manual, like maybe an online manual for text video of how to do an empathy circle, to give tools. And as a group, that we as a group, instead of doing the design process, that we do a full 2 or 3 hour empathy circle, so we're only doing empathic listening with each other to get like a deeper sense of it. And or we also form empathy buddies. So the 6 of us team up, and you create a call, you know, over the next week, and you have like an empathic listening, kind of one-on-one. So there's a higher degree of engagement and practice of empathy circle to really get a sense and practice that empathic listening. And then the one I didn't write down was to map out the feelings to expect that may come up in an empathy circle. Like you, especially doing it online, you know, frustration may come up, anxiety may come up. So that from our experience, what have we found that are the emotions that come up to, or sadness come up? You know, so people are kind of like are prepared, or that's kind of spoken to. So if you have ideas on top of it, you can, you know, just type those right in afterwards, or maybe we just go through and read them all. Tim, do you want to go through yours? You're muted.
I didn't get a chance to write them into the document because it crashed again for me.
Okay.
But my my ideas were to explain up front that the technology is immature, and what I meant by that was just to acknowledge the limitations. To maybe have some practice sessions before the course starts, just to build familiarity with the technology. This one was for me. Resist the temptation to redesign Google's UX. I can't tell you how difficult that is as a designer.
We'll have straps that we put on you to kind of strap you down. So.
Yeah, to some goggles to stop me looking at the issues. Allow time for unstructured reflection in between the exercises to build rapport between the group. Maybe have members meet online in pairs to build familiarity, which is that I think you mentioned the buddies idea, Edwin, and also explain the feelings that might come up as a result of going through a process that is new like this. Those were mine.
Oh, thanks. Melissa?
Okay, sorry, I was typing out for Tim there.
Thanks for that.
Hope I did justice to your responses there. So for me, more time to learn about or get to know people before the circle starts. So even if you can't talk to them, you have some kind of bio. I mean, I think I checked you all out on LinkedIn already and tried to make contact offline before, but that helps, I think. One-to-one meetings outside the circle, on or offline. Some of you live in the area with each other, so that might be nice. Or you're welcome to come to the Netherlands. It's fine too. Prior to the circle, send each other something real or tangible to put in front of you when you're conversing, so you can fiddle with it or look at it. Yeah, something if somebody else touched it, maybe it makes it more real. I think instead of a thumbnail, how about a 3-dimensional hologram of all the heads of the people floating in space in front of you? So you can actually look at them and talk to them and maybe touch out and try to feel them. I don't know. Would be awesome. Similar to echoing what Tim said, taking time to write notes after you listen to everybody's speech, or so those thoughts in your brain don't get lost, and you can maybe ask them later in those moments for open discussion. And I'm thinking shared experience. We all need a, I survived an Empathy Circle t-shirt, something to feel the bond with each other. We all wear red socks today. I don't know, just something like some kind of, even though we're all in space, that we still have something that makes us connected to each other. I don't know. I'm big on, I'm big on that.
Great.
That's
thanks. Me. Okay. Mercedes?
Well, I think in the same line of things, allow a moment of expression to relate to the other person speaking. Like we can do, a listening exercise, well structured with one, but then allow other people to say something that it's related to. It could be a word, a sign, mirroring a feeling, which is the next one, mirroring the feeling, the idea through small gestures or sign. We could even create a language for the empathic circles that help us relate in a way that it's fast and without taking the time, of the other. Use other virtual tools. For example, if you use mind mapping, you can draw at the same time you are writing. Symbol, signs, and language, what I was saying before, we could also create, some kind of signs that can express in a moment of the circle. I need a minute, or I need to say something, or I need whatever. Working in pairs, because sometimes this process is one another, going one, then the other. Sometimes you hear something and you want to talk to that person, but you're not allowed. And if for example, you as facilitator, you set the pairs, probably I won't have the chance to do it. Use other resources that appeal to the senses. Empathic listening. Yes, we listen to what the other person said, but there's a bunch of communication. The vast majority of the communication is not oral. So using other resources, I think, might help with empathy. Use activities that support empathic listening but dissolve resistance, like what Melissa was saying, of having something that we can share, like something we touch, or a game that we can do in a moment that makes it easier to say something that we wouldn't say in such a structured and serious way, and allow people to choose who and what. In some moment of the circle, being able to say, Melissa, I want to tell you something, or I want to ask you something, or I need you to listen to me. Or Xuan, because there's something in that moment that you relate spontaneously, but the moment passed because you are not in the list, or it's not the order of the group.
Okay, thanks. Xuan, you're next.
Yeah. I agree with many points you just said. And to add up, so I guess it's kind of the same. The first one is building more opportunities for freely express oneself spontaneously. Another one is have maybe more topic-specific icebreaker that instead of saying freely what's on your mind right now, you can talk about a funny story, a fun experience we have, or what's on your to-do list today, something more specific. And I'm building more nonverbal gestures, like mirroring the other person's gesture, giving each other like a thumb up, and many other things. I especially like Melissa's idea of sending each other something. Like it doesn't have to be like soft or something, just something that embodies the other person in the group.
Okay, Lulu.
Well, I rather saw the question as a question that addresses mostly community issues. So I was thinking of focusing on the group that would be the solution and creating a healthy community. So there are a few ways, like using passion. For example, each of us that should have a time to talk with about something he really likes to do. Passion has the opportunity. Well, I don't know what does it have, but it enables people to relate better to one another. And they become thus more empathic as well. Share an experience. I just put there dancing. It was the first one that came into my mind. I don't know how possible that is, but to do something together, this also enables the growth of the community. Having pauses, lowering the rigidity of time, which would mean to enable time for breathing, like I don't know, having a tea at one moment, having a pause in which we just have a pause, and of course playing a game, following the ideas of Homo Ludens. I don't know if you know Johan Huizinga. I like him very much. He has a book. It's called Homo Ludens, which looks at the way the games build up communities. Yes, that's it.
Okay,
Sorry.
great.
And I really hope it helps. That's it.
So yeah, we've come up to the time. So what we would do at this point, we would do the same thing. We would hone in on one problem area that we would, one thing we would prototype. For example, I would say prototype the empathy buddy, so that we get together and with someone else in the group and do a maybe half an hour of empathic listening, and everybody else has one idea, and then we'd merge that and then all work on that one idea. And so we've run out of time, and hopefully the next time around we'll get a little bit far, closer to go through the full process. We'll kind of be more familiar with it. So that was it for this meeting. I just want to keep us on track because I know people have other schedules and things to go.
Yeah.
And for the closing, what we're doing is just like a three like an wee yay.
Got your mic on, Tim. Come on, your mic's on, Tim.
So that's it.